Your future self is already trying to reach you. Every morning you wake up and rehearse the same thoughts, the same doubts, the same mental loop about who you are and what you're capable of. And that rehearsal is a form of journaling too. You just never recognized it as one. By the end of this, you'll understand why 15 minutes of deliberate writing each day can collapse the distance between where you stand and where you belong. Think about what you did this morning. Before your feet hit the floor, your mind was already running a script. The worries from yesterday, the limitations you've memorized so well they feel like facts. That internal monologue is shaping your reality with surgical precision, and you've been letting it write itself for years. Journaling about your desired future self interrupts that autopilot. It hands you the pen, and the pen matters more than you think. When you sit down and write about the version of you who already has what you're reaching for, the career, the relationship, the inner peace, the financial freedom, something shifts beneath the surface of your awareness. You're forced to make decisions about that person. How do they wake up? What's the first thing they think about? How do they carry themselves through a difficult conversation? These details feel like fiction at first. They feel like pretending. But Neville Goddard taught something that most people speed past without grasping its weight. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the creative act itself. The imagining, done with enough sensory vividness, is the cause. The physical world rearranges itself to match. Journaling is where that imagining gets specific enough to stick. Here's what happens when you write vaguely. I want to be wealthy. I want to be confident. I want to be loved. Your subconscious yawns. It's heard this before. It filed those wishes somewhere between your childhood dreams and last year's abandoned resolutions. Vague desire produces vague results. But when you write, I woke up in my apartment overlooking the water. I made coffee slowly because there was nowhere I needed to rush to. My phone buzzed with a message from my business partner, confirming the deal closed. I smiled, and the smile felt earned. Now you've given your deeper mind something it can work with. A scene, a texture, a felt experience that your body begins to respond to as if it already happened. That body response is where the real acceleration begins. Your subconscious mind processes the written scene the same way it processes a vivid memory. It draws conclusions from it. It updates your self-concept based on it. And your self-concept, the collection of beliefs you hold about who you are, is the blueprint your entire life is built from. Every circumstance, every relationship, every dollar in your account is a reflection of that inner architecture. Journaling about your future self renovates the blueprint. 15 minutes at a time. So why 15 minutes? Why does such a small window create measurable shifts? Because consistency matters more than duration. A 15-minute practice you actually do every single day rewires your assumptions faster than an hour-long visualization you attempt twice and abandon. The daily repetition is the mechanism. Each session reinforces the new identity. Each session weakens the grip of the old one. You're casting votes day after day for the person you're becoming. And at some point, the tally tips, the old self-concept loses its majority. The new one governs. But there's a subtlety most people miss, and it's the reason some journals collect dust while others reshape lives. The writing has to come from a specific inner posture. You can journal about your future self from a state of longing. I really hope this happens. I need this so badly. Please let this be real. And all you'll accomplish is reinforcing the gap between here and there. The wanting itself becomes the dominant signal. Your subconscious faithfully mirrors it back. More wanting, more distance, more almost but not quite. The posture that works is gratitude from the end. You write as if reporting on a life you're already living. Past tense, present tense. The tone of someone reflecting on what's real, the way you tell a friend about your weekend. Relaxed, certain, matter of fact. The move went smoother than I expected. The new space has this light in the mornings that makes everything feel calm. I keep noticing how different I feel, like I finally stopped holding my breath. That's the frequency. That's the signal your subconscious trusts. Neville called this living in the end. The journal becomes your training ground for it. And the training requires a kind of discipline that looks nothing like effort from the outside. You sit, you write, you feel. 15 minutes. But inside those 15 minutes, you're doing the hardest spiritual work there is. You're choosing to believe something your senses haven't confirmed yet. Your bank account says one thing. Your journal says another. Your current relationship status says one thing. Your journal says another. The tension between those two realities is where most people quit. They look at the outer world, they look at their journal, and they decide the outer world must be right, because it's louder. The outer world is always louder. It's just never more accurate. Your senses report the past. Every single thing you can see, touch, and measure right now is the crystallized result of previous assumptions, previous states of consciousness, previous self-concepts that you've since outgrown, or could outgrow if you stop treating the old evidence as prophecy. The journal is where you practice loyalty to the new assumption, even when the old evidence is screaming, especially when it's screaming. This is where journaling separates from casual daydreaming. A daydream floats. It drifts in and out of focus, it entertains you for a moment, then the phone rings and it evaporates. Writing anchors the vision in your body. Your hand moves across the page. Your eyes track the words. Multiple senses engage simultaneously, and that multisensory involvement stamps the experience deeper into your subconscious than thought alone ever could. You're literally building neural grooves for the new identity with each sentence. There's a reason ancient traditions treated the written word as sacred. The act of writing was understood as an act of creation. You weren't describing reality. You were authoring it. The journal carries that same power when you approach it with reverence instead of routine. Now, a genuine objection arises here, and it deserves honest attention. If journaling alone could change reality, wouldn't everyone who keeps a diary already be living their dream life? The answer cuts to the heart of what makes this practice work or fail. A diary records what happened. It's backward-facing. It reinforces the existing story. The practice we're talking about is forward-facing and identity-based. You're writing from the consciousness of your desired self, saturating the entry with the emotions that self would feel. The distinction is everything. Recording your day strengthens your current identity. Inhabiting your future self on paper dissolves the boundary between current and desired. Consider what happens over 30 days of this practice. On day 1, the future self feels distant, almost embarrassing to write about. By day 10, you notice something strange. Certain phrases come easier. The resistance softens. By day 20, you catch yourself making choices during the day that align with what you wrote that morning. You pass on the complaint you would have made. You speak up in the meeting you would have stayed silent in. You handle the rejection differently. Nobody told you to do these things. The journaling shifted your inner posture, and your behavior followed without conscious effort. By day 30, the gap between the person writing and the person written about has narrowed so much that the journal starts reading less like aspiration and more like autobiography. This is the acceleration people report. Goals that felt 5 years away start showing movement in months. Opportunities appear that seem almost suspiciously well-timed. Conversations happen that you couldn't have engineered. The common explanation is coincidence. The deeper explanation is coherence. Your inner world finally matches what you're reaching for, and the outer world has no choice but to reflect the new signal. The practice asks something real of you, though. It asks you to sit with the discomfort of claiming something before it's proven. It asks you to feel wealthy before the money shows, to feel loved before the evidence stacks up. That gap between assumption and appearance is the crucible. Most spiritual teachings point to it. Most people avoid it. The journal is where you stop avoiding it and start living inside it deliberately for 15 minutes until the feeling becomes so familiar that it follows you out of the notebook and into your afternoon. One last thing worth sitting with. The version of you that you're journaling about? That version exists right now, in consciousness, as a possibility as real as the chair you're sitting in. Consciousness contains every version of you simultaneously. The one struggling, the one thriving, the one who already solved the problem you're losing sleep over tonight. Journaling is how you tune your frequency to match the version you prefer. Each entry is a dial turn. Small, precise, cumulative. Tomorrow morning before the old script starts running, open a blank page. Write from the end. Write with the calm certainty of someone whose ship already came in. Feel every word land in your chest before you move to the next sentence. 15 minutes. That's all the bridge between these two versions of you has ever required, and the pen has been in your hand this entire time.